Some cities feel frozen in time. Parts of them are like a time capsule from another decade. I just did a video talking about how LA is stuck in the 90s, but there's another city trapped in a time warp. That city is Houston. But when you think of Houston, you think of a legendary place. A city that built its reputation in the 90s and 2000s. It's the home of icons like DJ Screw and the undisputed empire of Rap-A-Lot Records. But what happens when that never evolves? It feels like Houston's refusal to let go of that past, especially with figures like J. Prince still clutching on to them old stories, and the power he once had has locked it in a dangerous time warp. Now these old school rules are crashing headfirst into the modern world. Let's go back to the 90s. That was the city's golden era. The economy was roaring back after the 80s oil bust, and skyscrapers were going up everywhere. Suburbs were sprawling, pulling in people from all over. And then you had the Rockets bringing back back-to-back championships in the early 90s. You had the Astroworld theme park where a generation of Houston kids grew up. You had the Astrodome, and the soundtrack was revolutionary. This is where chopped and screwed music was born. The legend DJ Screw would take records and slow them down into this syrupy, hypnotic sound that became the signature of Houston. But behind the music, a new power structure was being built. In 1987, a man named James Prince started a record label using his dirty money, Rap-A-Lot. Back then, New York executives was ignoring the South, but J. Prince forced them to pay attention. He built an empire with acts like the Ghetto Boys, Scarface, and Willie D, putting Houston on the map. J. Prince was seen as a pioneer and a protector who used his will and reputation to carve out a space for his city. He basically wrote the code, and for years everyone in Houston knew you played by his rules. For a decent amount of time, the name J. Prince was spoken only in whispers in the music industry. His legend was forged before social media, back when a man's reputation was everything. He was known as the dude every rapper had a healthy fear of, someone who commanded respect through a mix of sharp business and undeniable street authority. A huge part of his power came from checking in, an unwritten rule for any artist coming to Houston. It was like an old school mob tactic. You pay respect and sometimes money for protection. To some dudes, it was just a necessary part of a dangerous game, and Prince leaned into that image. He's known for settling beef, supposedly, like when he famously advised Drake to back down from his conflict with Pusha T. And that was his brand, a celebrated businessman and a feared enforcer. On one hand, he gave Southern hip-hop its voice and gave back to his community in the Fifth Ward. On the other, many saw his methods as a form of extortion built on fear. But back then, before the internet, his mystique was untouchable. His reputation was a shield, and no one dared to openly challenge J. Prince. Then the internet happened, and that untouchable image began to crack. The old school power moves that worked in the shadows were suddenly being dragged into the light on social media. And the new school wasn't playing by that. I first seen this major crack appear with NBA Youngboy. In 2020, after Youngboy's Houston place was robbed, J. Prince announced on Instagram he had recovered the stolen items. And it was a classic J. Prince move, a public display of power.
Youngboy place got broke into, people went in his place, disrespected different things, and I got a call about it. And the little homies that went into this place want to make that right. As you can see, homie, to make a long story short, I got your keys to your Rolls Royce, I got your keys to your McLaren.
But Youngboy wasn't going for it. He went on his classic Youngboy rant.
All that pussy and shit, hey, I don't respect none of that shit, man. It's plenty ways you could get in touch with me. Man, don't get on no internet and do nothing publicly. Don't do nothing dealing with no fucking publicity. None of that pussy and shit. And I'm good on them keys, gangster. When you buy shit cash, two keys come with the car anyway.
And the situation escalated with Prince calling him a dumb boy. It was a wild moment. A major artist had just publicly defied J. Prince, and his mystique took a significant hit, showing that after his constant posting on social media, his influence might not be what it once was. His attempts to command respect online were met with defiance. You had other dudes like Whack 100 repeatedly calling him out, claiming he was all talk and his persona was a facade. J. Prince, once viewed as an untouchable godfather, now looked like an old mob boss still projecting the same energy while the world around him had changed and was no longer afraid. But this refusal to evolve isn't just about power, it's embedded deep in the city's street culture. especially with the romanticization of lean. A mix of codeine and promethazine has its roots in Houston. It became the soundtrack to that slowed down lifestyle. And the new generation is trying to keep that legacy alive as if it's a status symbol. I just seen this dude Sauce Walker openly glorifying it, framing it as only players drink lean. And you're not a player from Houston if you don't drink lean.
People think this shit is just another drug that's running around and it's just something to do with alcohol. No, this shit got real culture and purpose. But fuck that. It does things to you as a person. It makes you player. This is for players. This is the for a league of gentlemen in the black culture of players.
He talks about it like it's an art form as iconic as Timberlands in New York. That narrative makes it sound harmless, like it's just part of the cool. The reality though is much darker. What they call sip and drink is an addiction to a powerful opioid. That culture has had devastating consequences, feeding a cycle of addiction that has harmed the community for decades. But Sauce Walker says that it's a beautiful thing for the black culture. Glorifying this liquid heroin is perhaps the most tragic sign of Houston being stuck in the past. Remains tethered to this dangerous relic from the 90s. Celebrating the poison while the rest of the city is building a future. The death of the Migos rapper Takeoff in Houston in 2022 was a brutal wake-up call. All this check-in nonsense was fake. It was just an extortion. And let others tell it, mob ties be playing with them fake dice.
They had them boys down there shooting bad dice on them, homie. Come on, homie. That's the mob ties rapper lot in them game.
That's
their game. Bro. If you come to Houston as a celebrity, you get with them boys, they go take you down through there, give you the so-called protection, but you gonna have to shoot dice.
And when you call them out, it's a problem. Takeoff's death resulted from a dice game gone wrong. It showed that the game has real deadly consequences. And the alleged killer has Jay Prince's attorney backing him up. Afterward, you saw the old guard like Jay Prince back in the spotlight, engaging in public spats with Offset on podcasts and social media. All of it just stripped away whatever mystique and stories was left. The power that once felt absolute now looks old and limited. And the new generation is openly mocking them old rules. Jay Prince's authority is mostly confined to his old Fifth Ward neighborhood. When Taylor Swift comes to Houston, does she have to check in? When Post Malone comes to Houston, does he have to check in? And we just seen what happened to Big U in LA. I wouldn't be surprised if the feds came and picked up Jay Prince and his little son. So now Houston is at a crossroads, caught between its legendary past and a future it needs to embrace. The city that gave the world a new sound is at risk of becoming a parody of itself, clinging to faded reputations and a dangerous culture. The old kings are still on their thrones, but the thrones are wobbling, and the world outside the palace walls just isn't listening anymore.